Alright my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today I want to talk to you guys about what it's like to have a high-end PC and if I think that cost is worth it. So, as you guys know, I bought a 4080 Super and then I paired that with a 7800X 3D with on the AM5 platform just last week. Here's the thing, man. I've went from basically I've done a whole lot of, you know, kind of not necessarily benchmarking, but experience testing on the PC space, and that's basically what it is. I mean, I've never once said that I am an expert in PC stuff. I've always maintained and still maintain that I am a consumer just like you, and I've been basically testing the different experiences from the low end to the mid-range all the way up to the higher end now. Not top of the line, but we are pretty dang close. I think I have the second fastest card on the market right now with a 4080 Super, and that's paired with the best gaming CPU, the 7800X 3D. So let's talk about what it's like to actually have a fairly high-end, pretty much no compromise PC. First thing I can tell you is basically I can play any game I want. I can have full control over all of the visuals. I get very, very good frame rate. I also have, you know, with all that extra power, just means that features like DLSS and ray tracing and all of those features just work significantly better because you're already getting a higher frame rate. So when you utilize DLSS or you utilize frame generation or you utilize, you know, the ray tracing and stuff, the experience is actually freaking playable, and it really is a really nice experience. Now, I personally am one of those kind of gamers that I could have 100% been happy with the 7800 or 7900 XTX. Because I kind of feel like that and the 4080 Super are really, really close. I feel like it could have gone either way when it comes to like the ray tracing stuff. Yes, it's nice to have. I think it's absolutely incredible on certain games, but like I've said before, there are games that are just like I think they just put it on there just so they could say, look, we have ray tracing in our game, when it actually doesn't really make any visual difference. It just really wrecks the performance of the experience. But when it comes to having a high-end build, the experience is good. Like I love this experience. I think it's incredible. I'm actually really considering getting a 4K monitor now so that I can, you know, utilize that. But I do want to take a minute and I kind of want to explain this. So the high-end range, like when you buy like a 4080 Super, say a 7900 XT or a 7900 XTX, or even a 4090 for that fact, you can probably potentially make these cards last a lot longer than you normally would. But I also kind of feel like, here's the thing, man. The 7800 XT, that card comes with the 16 gigs of VRAM. It has the same 256-bit bus that the 4080 Super has. So in my mind, those cards are gonna be able to last a little bit longer, you know, due to like actually having a good amount. Well, I mean, I guess you could throw the 4070 Super or 4070 Ti Super in there too. These cards that have the 16 gigs of RAM, it really does make these cards, you know, awesome high refresh 1440p gaming, but then it also gives them, you know, a pretty decent experience at 4K gaming as well. And as you guys have seen with like these new Unreal Engine 5 games coming out, like we just got Hellblade 2 and that game's running on full Unreal Engine 5, utilizing everything, and we're like 8 gigs of VRAM. Granted that there's not a whole lot of other characters running around, there's not a whole lot of other, you know, lot of computation and all of that stuff going on in there with like, you know, just like wildlife or anything like that. I mean, it feels pretty much like, you know, like I don't know, but I mean, if we're looking at that and then you look at other games like, you know, gosh dang it, what was that, Lords of the Fallen, and some of them other, you know, like RoboCop, some of these other Unreal Engine 5 games, and them having a pretty decent handle on the overall experience when it comes to like VRAM utilization and stuff. I do kind of feel like 16 gigs is like the sweet spot for having enough to at least have a good looking gaming experience, being able to not being held back by like VRAM budgets and stuff like that, but also being able to traverse, you know, 1080p, 1440p, and 4K pretty much with no problem. Now I spend a lot of time with that 7800XT build, and I freaking love that card. Like I feel like if you're going into mid-range or something, I feel like the 7800 XT is a good card. I feel like the 7900 GRE is a good card. I feel like the 4070 is a good card. The 4070 Super. All of these cards in that $500 to $600 budget range, all four of those cards absolutely deliver an experience that like most people on like consoles or something would really, like, seriously, like they would really dream of that. You would think that like buying a mid-range experience would be like a lesser experience, but no, man, like they're actually really dang good. And that's what I was like, I think that's why I spent a whole lot of time in that mid-range phase, because I was like, gosh, this is really good. This absolutely destroys the consoles. It delivers a high refresh experience. 1440p looks absolutely incredible. I've still got budget and VRAM and power that I can run some of these games at 4K and then downsample to 1440p, and it looks even better. So I mean, there's a lot of play in that mid-range space. Like these mid-range cards, in my opinion, as a gamer, as somebody that plays a lot of games and just, you know, like that's the main thing. These these mid-range cards are extremely potent. But now that I've moved over to a more high-end experience, now here's the thing. Now, I know that when I first bought this 4080 Super, a lot of people were telling me like, oh man, your CPU or blah, blah, blah is holding back the platform or whatever. I mean, I could already kind of tell that with the 7900 XT, especially at 1440p. When I would try to play at 1440p, I kind of always felt like I wasn't really getting the max that card can do until I got the 7800X3D. Now 1440p is like really high refresh with the 7900 XT and the 4080 Super, and 4K is so much more attainable on these higher end cards. If you look at like the 7800 or the 7900 XT, there's a lot of games that I absolutely have to utilize, you know, FSR, but then there's a lot that literally play native 4K. Like some of these Sony games that are coming out, like I can do Horizon Forbidden West, Ghost of Tsushima, running those games at 4K over 60 on both of these cards, like native 4K over 60 frames a second. And they look incredible. Like they look very good at native 4K resolution. Like it looks good. As you know, I mean, I was having a little while there where I was like, man, I don't care about the 4K. I just want to play on the 1440p monitor because it just looks better and stuff. But like these cards are actually pumping out a 4K experience that I'm actually pretty dang happy with. I'm very happy with this. Now I know a lot of people in the community probably just think that I like to just hate on NVIDIA whenever I get a chance, and that's not the case. There's some, you know, my experience with NVIDIA is pretty straightforward. I let the overhype really dictate how much I thought NVIDIA was like this like up on a cloud, put them on a pedestal. I really did let that overhype get into my head for NVIDIA, and then when I would find myself getting disappointed, being limited by things like VRAM or any of those other things, like, yeah, that did have a negative effect. But I don't look at NVIDIA like that no more. I don't put them on a pedestal. I don't just like, yeah, I mean, they're the best. I don't do that. There are things with NVIDIA that I'm just like, okay, this could be significantly better because I get significantly better on an AMD card for like user experience features and other things. I get a better experience on some of that on a less expensive GPU than I'm getting on the NVIDIA side. So yeah, like I've kind of come to the point where I where I see the strengths of AMD and I see the strengths of NVIDIA, but I also see the weaknesses of AMD, you know, when it comes to like ray tracing and, you know, some of the other things. There are other things, but they're not, you know, as glaring as like everybody tries to make it out to be. And then there's shortcomings for the NVIDIA, of course. Obviously, you know, like tighter VRAM budgets, the higher cost for buying these GPUs, especially when like these GPUs are like they're dual GPUs. They're good for work and they're good for, you know, being able to play video games and stuff. So I do get that. Like I do understand, you know, that there are other features for the NVIDIA, but when you're coming to like the gamers and that's what they want to do and that's what their main thing is, to play video games, is we're being forced to buy all this stuff that we're never going to use. And so when I look at that and I look at AMD and I look at the price and the experience, and yes, obviously I take things like ray tracing and upscaling support, I obviously do take that stuff pretty seriously, because those are features that are going to necessarily, they're going to be there to increase the longevity of your GPU, to make it so you can have peace of mind in investing in these products now, knowing that yes, I'm going to be able to use this and it's going to make my experience better. Here's my thing. Both the 7900 XT and 4080 Super 100% perform without using those features good enough to where I'm like, okay, yeah, these are awesome. And when you start to get to those games that you're going to start losing performance and stuff, flip on DLSS. It looks good. Flip on FSR and quality mode. It looks good. I would say once you get to the point where you need like DLSS performance and FSR performance, that's maybe when I'll be like, yeah, maybe it's time to start getting a new GPU. I mean, and I'm saying like you're still using quality ultras settings or whatever, but if you find yourself, I mean, I don't know, if you go to like high performance or high or even medium on PC, looks absolutely incredible. Like if you can live with that, like you could push that GPU, you could push these GPUs so much further. And that's, you know, kind of what I'm planning on doing a little bit. Like I want to push these a little bit, you know, before I just jump in there and buy, you know, a whole bunch more stuff. Like I want to push these. I want to experience this. Like I'm having so much fun being a PC gamer and coming over to PC and, you know, learning all this stuff and just buying these and having a good time. Like I'm very, very excited with the overall PC experience, and having a high-end PC now, this is awesome. This is freaking awesome, my friends. So if you guys like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.